have Marques A. Clark, a local poet, author, and community leader. He will be talking about his C.L.A.P. C.L.A.P means character, leadership, attitude, and personal. So, without further ado, Marques Clark.
I have to live up to that introduction. That was big. Thank you. The microphone did work, but I'm a professional speaker and I can project my voice, so I really don't need a microphone. I like to speak to y'all with the freebie of my hands. And how many of y'all heard of me, know me, seen me around, anything, saw my poetry, read my books, whatever? I'm a local native, born here in St. Pete. I'm good friends with Ernest. I come around college campuses a lot, talking with a lot of the college students and college youth. And I get out in the community as an activist, I get out in the community as a youth leader, I get out in the community as a speaker, and I try to present awareness of what's going on in the community and what goes on with our youth and what goes on in the education system. Just trying to encourage our kids to stay off the streets and more so get involved with school. Today, I just wanted to bring this simple, what I call a theory, this simple C.L.A.P theory that I usually present to my mentors, my mentees all the time. And I did this over the years. I built this, practiced it, and I've used it many times over to continue to build myself up as a person and where I want to go. And I hope these principles, if they work for me and I'm continuously seeing success from it, then I'm almost going to guarantee these same principles will work for you if you're following the guidelines of how I present them. But as I present them to you, I want to present you faces of each and every one of these, because there are some faces, and in honor of Black History Month, I want to show you guys something with these faces and what these, you will see that my subtitle on the flyer, if you saw it, it said, "Success is not what you think." Okay? Success is not what you think. And when you think about character, who are you? Leadership, picking a side, attitude, your stance in life, and your personal, yourself, your personal reflection on who you are, and basically what kind of human will you be. When you look at that, there's some questions that go with that. But I also found this little funny little snippet right here to be kind of hilarious to me. And this is kind of true. They say, identify your character with your color. If you like yellow, then you're organized and structured. If you like red, then you're intense and ambitious. If you like green, you're intelligent and balanced. And if you like blue, then you're obsessed with trucks and beer. That's pretty much how that goes. I kind of found that to be a little funny, so I threw that in there and injected that in there. But I have to ask this question as character first. Who are you? This is what I want you to think about. Who are you? Okay? I want you to answer this for me. Who's those guys right there? Who's the guy on the left? Anybody know the skinny kid? It's Floyd Mayweather. Anybody know the kid on the right? Huh? Don't know the skinny kid on the right? The skinny kid on the right is Mike Glennon on the Tampa Bay Bucks. You remember Mike Glennon, quarterback, Tampa Bay Bucks, had 2 losing seasons with the Bucks? Let me tell you something about character, right? When you look at these two people, there are differences in their records. Mayweather's an undefeated winner. Mike Glennon is a loser. So hold on, let me clarify what I mean by loser. Mike Glennon, the guy, is not a loser. Mike Glennon played on a team that was a losing team. So Mike Glennon himself isn't a loser. And I'm going to show you that even with a character like Floyd Mayweather with an undefeated record, a perfect record, a winning streak, I'm going to show you how these two guys are still the same. Okay? When you're looking at Floyd Mayweather, a guy who spends umpteen hours on training camp when he's getting ready for a fight, a guy who is just in the gym. Most people don't know this about Floyd Mayweather. Most people don't know that Floyd Mayweather sits in the gym when he's getting ready for a fight. He's in the gym. Your average boxing round is 3 minutes. Floyd Mayweather goes 6 minutes. Your average round, the longest round you can go is 12. Floyd Mayweather's in the gym for 40. 40 rounds of 6 minutes of training, sparring, fighting. And what is that? When you look at character, that's called integrity. That's being true to who you are and what got you to where you are when you were a kid, like he is there, and when you're still a champion making hundreds and millions of dollars. Now Floyd Mayweather could have changed his regimen up, being that he's got money and he don't have to keep that same regimen, but it's true to who he is and his character. So when you look at character, there's some things that go with character, and one of those things that go with character is integrity. And when you look at Mike Glennon, you say, what does that got to do with Floyd Mayweather? But when you look at Mike Glennon, let me tell you something about Mike Glennon. The same guy, he's the same guy as Floyd Mayweather. Okay? Because when you look at Mike Glennon, he went in 2014, he went into Pittsburgh Steelers Stadium to play Pittsburgh, right? And every analyst had him losing that game. Every analyst said, oh, they're going to lose that game because they had a losing season before and they were already losing this season. But the fourth game of that year, 2014, Mike Glennon went into Pittsburgh Steelers territory and he beat them. And when he came out of that game, the reporters were all in his face asking him, how did you do it? How did you do it? How did you do it? Number one, integrity. Because he stayed true to what got him in the NFL. He stayed true to his film study, he said. He stayed true to learning their game plan. He stayed true to going in the film room, looking at how they act, looking at how they call their plays. So Mike Glennon stayed constantly, consistently into the film room. And that's the second one about character, is consistency. It's not changing who you are. I want to be able to find you doing the same thing when you're a lowly guy or when you're a high guy. Mike Glennon was doing the same thing. He didn't care if he had a losing record. It wasn't about Mike Glennon's losing record that identified who he was. See, again, Mike Glennon played on a team that had a losing record, but Mike Glennon himself wasn't a loser. Because Mike Glennon had integrity just like Floyd Mayweather had integrity. Mike Glennon had consistency just like Floyd Mayweather has consistency. So when you look at the two, they're identical. And when you're looking at yourself, you have to ask yourself those two things. Who are you in your character? Are you the person that's going to be, I'm going to find 1 year doing this and then 5 years later you're still doing the same things that got you there? Or will you change? Now they say money don't change people. Money changes people, and that's true. Money does change people. But how true is it? Floyd Mayweather's character didn't change. He stayed true to who he was. That got him hundreds of millions of dollars, and still to this day he is doing it. So when you look at Mike Glennon and Floyd Mayweather, those two people are the same and identical in character, consistency. And I thought about that. I said, well, you know, the book, The Art of War, it said, you need not to fear the results of 100 battles if you know who it is you're facing and you know yourself. The Art of War said, if you know yourself and you know your enemy, you need not to worry about the results of 100 battles. If you go into the film room and study your enemy, who's your enemy? It could be the one who's saying you can't do it. It could be your thoughts. You know, the biggest defeater that we have to defend is ourselves against ourselves. We have to fight against ourselves and our own thoughts. It's not always all the time somebody coming in telling you that you can't do it. But still yet, what builds your character? Adversity, pressure, stress, occupation, family. These things build your character. It's coming through the pressures. When they told Mike Glennon, you're going to lose this game, and he heard that. Haters even. He heard the noise of his haters. And he went in there, and he went into Pittsburgh Steelers territory and beat him. He heard it. He knew the stress he was under. He knew the pressure he was facing. Every single time Floyd Mayweather gets in the ring or studies and gets ready for a fight, he knows the pressure he's facing. He knows the pressure he's facing, but guess what? Like the Art of War said, but when you know yourself and you know your enemy, you don't need to fear the results of 100 battles. Because you go into battle prepared. You're ready for war. You're ready for war. And so when you think about your identity in honor of Black History Month, we gotta always point out the leaders, the faces of Black history when you're looking at Black history. And you can't skip over, as much as people like to do this a lot, and I see this happen all the time, people love to skip over Martin because it's obvious you're going to choose Martin. It's obvious. But if I have to choose anybody that I look at that has consistency and integrity and everything that he did, it's going to be Martin. It's going to be Martin. And so when I say this about Martin, you have to take the lion approach in building your character. You see, let me point something out to you. You have to take the lion approach in building your character, right? A lion does not know it's a lion. Yet, every animal in the jungle knows that it's a lion. If I gave that lion the pretty cute name Poodle, would you still go pet that poodle?
Nah.
I don't think you would, right? You wouldn't go pet that poodle. So what's happening here in this situation? The lion doesn't know it's a lion. So what's really happening here is the lion doesn't possess the name, the animal doesn't possess the name, yet the name possesses the animal, the characteristics of the animal. So when you think of lion, what are you thinking of? Ferocious, fearless, bold, courageous, confident. And this is the thing when you bring up Mike Glennon's name. He didn't identify his name with the Buccaneers team, yet he identified himself with his name and who he knew he was. So when he knew who he was, he went into battle ready for war. And that's what every lion does when it goes into battle. It knows who he is. It's bold enough. It's courageous enough. It's confident enough. It's going into battle knowing what it's facing. But yet it still takes the risk. Willing to risk. Confident in its skill. Confident in what it has, what it possesses. Mike Glennon did not identify himself with the name Buccaneers. The name didn't possess Mike Glennon. The lion does not possess, the animal does not possess the name. The name possesses the animal. So when you say lion, you automatically think of his characteristics. And a lion doesn't have to make his presence felt for his presence to be felt. Am I right? If you had a lion right here in front of you, of course you know that's a lion, you're going to go running the other way. But if that lion is standing behind you and it's not saying anything, you have to turn around, you better have an extra pair of underwears with you. Okay? Because when you turn around and you ready to, you're going to have to change some things around here. But yet, the lion doesn't have to make his presence felt for his presence to be felt. Floyd Mayweather is the smallest guy in the boxing world. But yet his presence is felt by every big guy he steps upon. Why? Because they know Floyd Mayweather knows himself. They know Floyd Mayweather goes into everything with intensity. They know he goes in with pure passion. They know he goes in pouring everything and leaving everything in that arena, in that practice ring. They know that about him. People hate him because he's good. People hate Floyd Mayweather because he's good. And they hated Mike Glennon because he was a loser. Yet these two people possess the same characteristics. Yes, one's have a winning record, one has a losing record, but their name, they don't identify themselves with their name. But when you bring up their name, you know the characteristics of that person, just like that lion. And so when you think about Martin Luther King, what did Martin do? What was Martin doing with his characteristics and what he did? You know, Martin Luther King was a man that we all know, 26 years old, became a Baptist preacher. And Martin Luther King did not want to, he just wanted to be a preacher. All Martin Luther King wanted to do was just be a preacher. That's all he wanted to do. He didn't want to go and lead anything and be in charge of anything. But yet they were calling Martin up. They were calling Martin up to lead the civil rights movement, right? And Martin was like, no, just leave me alone. Let me be a Baptist preacher. But Martin had, something got to Martin. Something got to Martin. And what got to Martin was the fact that, let me say this, when it comes to leadership, because this is the next one we're going to go into. Leadership is not a position you fight for. Leadership is a position you are put in when you have to fight for something. Leadership is a position you are put in when you have to fight for something. And Martin knew it was going to be a fight. He knew he was getting ready to go on the war during the civil rights era. He knew it was going to be a fight, but Martin couldn't find anybody to fight with him. Martin couldn't find anyone to fight with him, but yet they were calling him up to lead the civil rights movement. And we're going to get back into what Martin's character did when it comes to leadership, when it comes to Martin's character and what he did with his movement and his movement. Because Martin just wanted to be, again, a no-name Baptist preacher. But yet Martin was looking for one. Martin was looking for one. So, when you think about leadership, we're going to get back into Martin because there's more that goes with that. But when you think about this leadership characteristic, Again, as I said, leadership isn't a position you fight for, it's a position you're put in when you have to fight for something. And when you think about this, who's that woman right there? Everybody know? That's Olympic track runner Wilma Rudolph. Wilma Rudolph became the first fastest black woman in the world. They called her the Black Gazelle. They called her the Pearl Noir, meaning the Black Pearl. And what happened with Wilma Rudolph? Wilma Rudolph was a woman who had got struck with polio at the age of 6. Right? Here's a girl born the 20th child out of 22 siblings, the 20th child. Here's a woman who can walk all the way up until the age of 6, and then she gets hit with polio. And polio does what to her? Takes her legs away from her. It takes her legs away from her. Now she's paralyzed in her legs and she has to wear braces on her legs. Right?